welcome to Cross Politics. It's the Midweek Fix, Wednesday.
Hey, where's your sunglasses,
Good to be with you guys. I don't need my sunglasses anymore.
I don't know who you are.
And apparently, the world doesn't need masking anymore.
Oh.
So we got rid of my sunglasses and we got rid of masks all in 1 week.
Wow. Did the CDC order that?
Pretty, yes. They're like, your eye's better. You did not have COVID eye.
The science says.
The science says.
Take those sunglasses off.
Yes. Good to be with you guys. Make sure you share the show. We are live right now. And so I'll be.
Why is it we never take questions on the show live? Like, no one, we don't even try hard.
It's hard to read and talk at the same time. That's my reason.
That is.
What?
Yeah.
But you do it every day on the news brief.
Yeah, but it's like.
Toby, can you not pat your head and rub your belly?
No.
No.
That's my limit.
By the way, if you don't get
One
the daily
thing at a
news
time.
brief, you're missing out, man.
Well, there's a lot of
daily
actually
news
things
brief.
that we're not going to cover today, like the Maricopa audit. We aren't going to get in that date that I've been covering on my daily news brief. And Toby, you should update everybody tomorrow what's going on with the Maricopa audit. That's something that you should.
Hey, in case you didn't have anything for the news brief,
Yeah.
Gabe's got you settled over here.
All right.
So be following what's going on in Maricopa because that's going to have significant ramifications on really other states like Georgia, who's trying to.
Is it going to make our gas prices go down?
No.
Okay, well,
No.
it doesn't matter.
Not right away.
No. Maybe if they get cyber attacked and there's some sort of bribe that happens. You know,
Okay.
I don't know. Hey guys, make sure you subscribe to our magazine before the next issue comes out.
Yeah.
The next issue is on feasting in the presence of mine enemies.
I'm almost done with my article.
Oh, you're that late?
Oh, hey, that's your brother you got to deal with.
I know.
I already got a lot of edits for mine back.
Good.
Good. Yeah, good.
Good.
No.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yes, amen. We need a good editor with me. But we got Rosemary Butterfield, Rachel Jankovic, Pastor Wilson, Pastor Toby, others writing for this
If
next
you haven't been
edition.
reading those, those are some great articles.
They're really
man.
good.
I love
Yeah.
it.
And if you remember, the Credenda Agenda, people were talking in our Facebook family group on this and about Credenda Agenda and how they missed Credenda Agenda. And Credenda had a big impact on me. It was such a great magazine and everything. That's kind of our goal is the 2.0 Credenda.
It was actually a copy of Credenda that was given to my dad where we first heard about New St. Andrews College.
Wow.
And my dad's like, I was talking about going to college, and he was like, I just read this little ad about this little college out in Idaho. This is the days of dial-up internet. This is little newspaper ad. There's no pictures on the website, just like book lists. I'm like, I want to go there.
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere.
Idaho.
So we hope this magazine has a big impact. You know, it's going to be a mini quarterly book-like experience, and it's something that you can get and then you can pass on, and pass to your friends, and it should be a good challenge. Your friends can't argue with the paper. They can maybe argue with you, but they can't argue with the paper.
So subscribe your friends.
Yeah.
And even some of your enemies.
And Russell Moore, now that he's at Christianity Yesterday, get him a.
They need send them send everybody like an honorary magazine over there
over Christianity Yesterday.
I got to tell you, everybody's kind of celebrating in one sense or another. Happy that Russell Moore's over there. I'm a little afraid.
I'm just glad he's out of church leadership now.
Well, yeah, I get you. I get you. Like, part of me is like, yay. I feel like the same way about the mass. It's like, yay. But he doesn't have restraints on him anymore either.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a committee over him. He doesn't have anything to pull on
I'm
him.
okay with that.
Yeah.
Well,
let it go. Let it free up.
I mean,
that's a good point.
how long is it going to take? I mean, you think 6 months before he says that he's evolved on a number of issues?
Yeah.
Oh, 6 months.
That's more,
6
all that
weeks.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this.
6 days.
He said in the documentary, by what standard, he said a place that doesn't have room for Beth Moore and the Southern Baptist Convention doesn't have a place for a lot of us, right?
Yeah.
And so
get on out of there.
I think he's probably on his way out to SBC.
Yeah, that's fine.
But we'll see. But I still think, look, I was talking to somebody about this, guys, because the committee didn't. He resigned. He picked another job, and there wasn't any sort of public discipline or anything about him. They didn't buy in the strong man.
Right. Oh, yeah, sure.
And so what I'm concerned about is he's out somewhere now. He's free to do everything he wants to do, and who knows what's going to happen with that. But who's going to fill the shoes, and are you going to get 7 more demons?
Yeah.
This is not everybody will say some of this for the mass stuff that's coming up, but this is not just a great moment to be, happy
that he's gone.
Something
is
this disease is spreading, and we don't know what's going to come.
Christians are not very good at the art of pursuit.
No, or discipline, obviously. So
Sure. Well, hey, don't forget our conference registration for September is going to be ready in June. We have to have a big meeting here, a little powwow before we release all the registration and all that stuff. So in June, we're going to be releasing registration. It's going to go fast. I hope to see thousands of you guys out in Lebanon.
I love when he says that.
Lebanon,
Tennessee.
We didn't get any feedback. Did we get any feedback on that?
Yeah,
last
we did.
time?
Oh, yeah.
Did we screw it up or did we do
no,
it right?
they're happy.
Oh, okay, good.
They're happy. So much better.
We pleased the natives.
Much better.
The natives are happy with us.
Well, in that case.
Politics of Sex, September 9th to the 11th. And one more plug here. I'm working with a bunch of people in Maricopa County with the ballot inspection recount. And our friends down there need about 800 volunteers. So especially if you live in Maricopa County, please reach out. These show notes will be on our website here, and you can grab the form. The form that you need to fill out if you want to volunteer, and I really recommend you trying to volunteer if you have time in Maricopa County or in Arizona. There's jobs for people who are specifically in Maricopa County, and there's jobs for people who aren't in Maricopa County, and they need about 800 volunteers. So please go to this form. It's HTTPS. I know I hate this. I have to, but I'm also going to send that on our show notes. :/form.jotform.com /211-226 791828-157. I'll just make sure it's all clear. And if you need to, rewind and listen to that and write it down,
you can listen to Gabe's lovely voice reading that.
What's
all
going on?
Day long if you
what's
want.
going on in Maricopa County is really important, it has tremendous.
So could you get the link
ramifications.
Right? Say it again so people can get it because
HTTPS :/2/ form.jotform.com /211-226-791-828-157.
Okay, so it's in there, and we're going to send out an email.
Yeah, we'll send out an email with all that. I already did send it out yesterday.
Okay,
and
so
everything.
If you're not subscribed to our email, then that's a good reason to get subscribed so you can get information that can't be read on the show.
And so this is a good opportunity to bring light to the whole election process, particularly in Maricopa County, and that's going to have ramifications.
It's really practical. It's a practical way to be involved at a local level at something that actually could have very significant national repercussions.
And in the form, at the referral, at the bottom of the referral, put cross-politic so they know that you're a pretty good person.
Okay.
That's a good assumption, I would think. So there you go. There's a little referral box there. Put cross-politic. That'll help them kind of sort through it. So as you guys have probably been paying attention to, maybe not. Maybe that's why you tuned in.
They're watching cross-politic to find out what's going on. Paying attention to.
There's this Mississippi case that actually is probably going to have some sort of significant challenge to Roe v. Wade that the Supreme Court is picking up.
Right.
This Mississippi case was a 15-week abortion ban in which the Republican governor signed into law. So it's a 15-week abortion ban. It made exceptions only for medical emergency cases in which there was severe fetal abnormality.
It's actually medical emergencies or cases in which there is a severe fetal abnormality.
Medical emergencies, did they say how they're defining that?
But rape and incest were not an exemption in all this.
I don't understand people that make those kind of exceptions.
I don't either. But anyways, a federal judge, he struck it down, and then it went to the U.S. Supreme Court, the Fifth Circuit. They upheld that federal judge, and now the Supreme Court's going to take this case up. But this has kind of got like the liberals all up in a tizzy.
It's now a 6-3 decidedly conservative court. And it now says, the Supreme Court of the United States, that it will hear a case that could remove a woman's right to control her own body. Dobbs v. Jackson, Mississippi Women's Health Organization. It tests a state law that bans almost all efforts to end a pregnancy after 15 weeks, including pregnancies resulting from incest or rape. Legally, the issue is fetal viability. When does what is inside a woman become a person with rights under the law?
Right.
You would think we would have impaneled experts on a special commission by now to see what the science says, right? But we don't seem to have the intellectual curiosity about this issue because it's not really about...
He's referring to the CDC.
What is he talking about? What is he talking about? All the science is clear.
It is.
All the science has always been clear.
Right.
It doesn't turn into an alligator.
Thousands of years.
At the point of conception, it's a human being. What is he talking about?
Yeah. Is there more?
Yeah.
Or is that
No!
That's it.
Oh, I fast forwarded.
Now you
it.
have to skip to the part where it's important.
No.
He wants to have a science fight. Is he serious right now?
Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't understand. Go skip to.
You want me to
part-
skip to it?
No,
All right.
you got to finish
I don't
listening
know.
to this.
I don't know. I can skip
It's
to
now a
it.
6-3
Go to the bottom.
decidedly conservative court.
There you go.
go.
Skip to
Okay.
the
And it now says state law that bans
Keep
almost
going.
all efforts to end a pregnancy, incest, or rape is fetal viability.
There you go.
When does what is inside a woman become a person with rights under the law? You would think we would have impaneled experts on a special commission by now to see what the science says, right? But we don't seem to have the intellectual curiosity
Gotta hear that
about
again.
this issue because it's not really about science.
Oh, no.
It has become a culture war. It's a political lever to use as a distraction from policy and solving problems, to allow people to get up in their religion and their righteousness over any sense
like he's
of
doing
what
right now.
science suggests.
Right.
Though medical capabilities may be moving the point of viability well short of what it was assumed to be in 1973 with Roe v. Wade. So you'd think some of the proponents of harsher measures would want the science involved. Most Americans want the court to uphold Roe v. Wade.
Time out. Hey, I thought we were having a conversation about science.
Right.
Yeah,
whoa,
exactly.
buddy.
No,
You don't get to jump.
He just appealed to his religion.
Thank you.
Demos.
We were having a conversation. Why didn't he go to, guys, here's the science on the issue and how messed up we are?
Yeah.
Because when you start going to the people, you start saying all of a sudden that it doesn't, they're the ones.
Who cares what the people think?
Listen, since we pulling this rule, as a black man, I have a problem with this.
Yeah.
Because there were all kinds of things where people were like, nope, they can't do this, they
Yeah.
can't do that.
Let's do the science on Dred Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. How many people want them to have the rights of... Oh, sorry. You don't have a right to
We've
sue in
all
this co-
voted against you.
That was the science of the day.
Why does it keep
You're
doing
fired.
this?
You're-
Why?
You're fired.
I hit the wrong button again.
I think
Hang
you're
on.
working for
I'm right here.
Cuomo.
Here we go.
No, I'm not,
You're
listening,
working-
I'm not listening to that again.
You're working
Now
for
6-3.
Cuomo.
Most Americans want the court to uphold Roe v. Wade, which found women have liberty over their own body as a right to privacy, a privacy right under the 14th.
Nobody's talking about the women having right over their own body. We're talking about the other body inside of them.
Right, the one you just said, like, when does it become a person?
The science.
Okay.
Amendment. 62 uphold, 24 overturn. But again, it's not about science or consensus. It's about
Obviously.
dividing lines, legislating to the far right white fright vote. Flooding the zone with 536 bills that abridge a woman's right to control her own body in 46 states. It's just like voting rights in one way. You see? It seems like the far right only cares about protecting humans before they are born. But the legal issues are much closer than the politics on this. 1973, Roe was a 7-2 decision. Reading Rehnquist's dissent is actually worth your time, especially given that this Dobbs case is coming. Especially also because, Roe is not inviolate. Yes, it's stare decisis, but that is subject to when they decide to overturn it. It was partially overturned in the 90s, 1992, I believe, in the Casey case. And now you have a much more conservative group of judges, one of whom, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, is an outspoken opponent of any reproductive right in this regard. And if anyone's going to say, no, she's never really said anything that bad, she belonged to a group that's all about it. So we're about to see the fruits of McConnell connivance. Will it come true with the crown jewel of the culture wars?
You're looking at the face of a real racist.
Yeah.
You're looking at the face of a real racist.
What do you mean?
What I mean by that is, if he's talking about far right flight, whatever.
Fright.
Yeah, whatever.
Yep.
But if he wants to talk about the science, he wants to talk about the numbers. Since 1973, since he brought it up, more than 19 million black babies have been killed in America through abortion.
Wow. Since 1973.
Since 1973. And I'm thinking, okay, so if we're going to look at the numbers of where the black people are dying at the highest amount of rates, it's not at the hands of the police.
Right.
Yep.
It's not there.
Right.
It's at the hands of some prophet Margaret Singer who convinced people it was okay to kill their own kids, particularly minority people.
Knox, let's do a survey and see if people agree with you. Oh, no, sorry. 63% of people think that police brutality is a bigger deal with black people.
In Mississippi, 79% of abortions are obtained by black women. In Washington, D.C., more than 60%. In Georgia, 59%. In Alabama, 58%.
Wow.
This is ridiculous. Black women in America make up about 14% of the birthing population, and they are having more than, I think it's 474 babies are being killed out of per 1,000 babies that are born.
Oof.
Wow.
Almost 50%.
Don't talk to me about white right flight, whatever he said. I don't want to hear about that.
This is the face of white fright.
That's it right there.
Right?
And
if we don't kill those black babies.
You know, we were talking about this before the show, and this really bothers me because you're killing off half of a population. That's a genocide.
Right.
I mean, that's a problem. And you're getting people and you're convincing them it's okay to do. But if the social justice movement were to come to me and say things like, Knox, abortion, that is killing off more people than the police is. Now, we have a police problem, but we're really hitting at this abortion stuff. Or you know what? Gun legislation has been a massive form of keeping black people from being able to defend themselves.
Right.
Yep. If they came to me
and then being able to book them on stupid infractions against obtaining firearms.
Absolutely. Right. Or if they said, you know what? Minimum wage laws kill and destroy black families.
Minimum wage laws were introduced in order to keep black people out of the workforce.
If they even went and said, you know what, Knox, every time that segregation and all that stuff has been a problem, but we've always done really good without having the government give us a handout. So what we want is to have the government get out of our business so we can create strong black families. The whole idea of the New Deal, welfare, it's destroyed the black family because it's got the black man out of the household.
It's incentivized not marrying the father of your children. You get more money if you don't marry the father of your kids.
So when people are talking about systematic racism and systematic issues in our system, I'm willing to have that conversation, but not on those terms. If we're talking about this, I'm like, let's fix these things.
Right. Why is abortion not at the very, very top? You want to talk about social justice? Abortion should be at the very, very top of your list and say, what is destroying people?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Literally destroying them, crushing them before they have the chance to live. Abortion is doing it by the millions. If that's not at the top of the list, then don't talk to me.
So why do you think the social justice movement doesn't focus on abortion or doesn't include abortion? Why do they focus on police brutality
because
or
it's
whatever?
Not. It's because bail has not allowed it. The bails say you can't bring that up.
Right.
The gods of this world have said no. And of course, what Christians try to do, Christians that get caught up in the social justice thing, they're like, all injustice. And they'll be like, and abortion.
Yeah.
Right.
And
they'll tip the hat
and
or something.
Abortion too.
Yeah.
And like they're not at the forefront. They're not saying end abortion now.
Right.
They're saying police brutality and all these other things where it's like it's really Pharisaism. I mean, Jesus said Pharisees swallow camels and strain out little gnats.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
If you actually look at the statistics, compare the deaths from police brutality to abortion.
Yeah. No, it's not even close.
That's,
not even.
that's
camel
your
gnats.
That's your gnat. No.
Camel gnats.
Should we strain out the gnats? Sure.
Bro, it's not even a gnat.
But you got to get rid of the camel. Get the camel out of your soup bowl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this is millions. And then on top of that, the actual injustice is going on with Second Amendment rights being used, basically weaponized against minorities.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Since the beginning.
Minimum wage laws, again, from the beginning, openly saying we need to keep these minorities out of the workforce.
Right.
That was white fright.
Yep.
Yeah.
And get rid of the minimum wage, abolish the minimum wage, let there be free markets, get the state out of it, get the regulations out of it so that everybody can compete.
And here's what's been really bad about this. And when we miss this, we've missed the real conversation on racial issues. You've said this, Pastor Wilson has said this, is that they freed the slaves and they enslaved everybody.
That's right.
With the gun laws that happened after the Civil War, there was plenty of gun laws that happened back in 1667.
Right.
I've talked about that a little bit on the show.
1900.
Yeah, early 1900s, but early 1800s. But after the Civil War, what they did was they didn't remove the laws. They removed who they applied to, so that those laws apply to everybody now.
Interesting.
So
we really all did get enslaved.
So we all did get enslaved. So now the gun laws that would have applied to only blacks. So one of the gun laws that applied was that only sheriffs and only their deputies and military are allowed to have weapons.
Right.
Well, it just so happens that the majority of the people who were the deputies of the sheriff were KKK.
Yep.
They're all white.
Yeah.
So guess what they were saying in the law by
It's
default?
not our fault.
Right. And so those same laws, then some of those get grandfathered in, especially in the South. And so they can say, well, you can't have a gun here. You can't. It's applied. And so there's a problem that we've never fixed here that is actually hurting everybody all the way down. But nobody wants to talk about those problems.
Because white fright didn't want the slaves to have guns.
And let me say one more thing. I don't want to talk to a person who considers a man dressed up as a woman and calls him a her.
Right.
I don't want to talk to that person about science.
Exactly.
You don't get to have, you've disqualified every conversation on the
No.
issue of science when you bring in trans issues.
Right.
Yeah, well, but the Center for Deceive and Control, right, Deceive and Control, isn't that good?
Oh, I see what you
Isn't that
did
good?
there.
It's not like we haven't seen that 3 times already.
I know, because I keep going back and forth.
But here's the hilarious thing. I didn't even notice that.
You were so busy listening to the Cuomo clip, huh?
Well, so they finally, what study informed them this week that people don't have to wear masks who've been vaxxed?
62% of Americans said they were tired of wearing masks.
They took a vote.
They took a vote.
They took a vote. Like the CDC came out this past week and said you don't have to wear a mask if you're vaxxed.
Right. I thought Hillary said, what did she say? Get your vaccine,
Get your life back. Yes. It was like,
Cringe.
ooh.
Well, you know what they're observing, a real truth is that they took our life from us.
They did.
And we let them.
Yeah.
We let them take our freedoms from us.
So here's my solution. I've decided that I'm trans-vaxxite. That means that I identify as having been vaccinated, even though I actually haven't been. Vaccination is a spectrum, and you're a bigot if you don't accept me for who I am.
Gabe,
That's what I've decided.
Gabe, but you're assuming that these people care about facts and logic.
Well,
No, I'm not when I do this.
Yeah, but you're trying to use their argument against them.
There you go.
And they don't care about arguments.
No, they don't.
So it's not going to work.
So
but it was kind of funny.
It was
they
a
don't
little
care
bit-
about
little
your
bit.
arguments.
So
That's
the
fair.
other thing is, the other way I'm going to spin this is I have been vaxxed. I've had the coronavirus. I've been vaxxed. I'm naturally vaxxed.
Well, actually, nobody talks about this. They said that if you've had the vaccine, then you're allowed to go and take off your mask. If you haven't had the vaccine, then they say you must wear the mask. They missed a third category. This is kind of an either or fallacy too. But so they missed a third category, which is if you've had the coronavirus, you have a higher ability to be immune to the virus than the vaccine itself.
Yep.
How come nobody talks about that? Here's another thing.
Because 62% of the people don't trust that science.
Well, that's why our local city supervisor was wearing a mask after he'd had the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Remember one of the city council meetings here locally, he was home on the Zoom call and he had the coronavirus while they were participating in the city council meeting and everything with a mask on still
at home.
And everyone's like,
By himself.
Gary's home. He's got the coronavirus and everyone, we're sorry. I hope
You
you
hit
get better.
Fauci on that in your news brief yesterday. Right? In your news brief yesterday or the day before, was it Tuesday?
So Fauci came out this week and said, I was wearing, after I got vaccinated, I was wearing my mask for the optics. Yeah. He said, I didn't want to send mixed signals.
Right.
And if you remember, back in March, Rand Paul called him on using his mask as theater masking.
Yep.
He said, Rand Paul said, you've been vaccinated.
Right.
Why are you wearing a mask?
Right.
And Fauci responded and chided him and kind of rebuked him for using
it's
the
not
term.
theater. It's not theater.
It's not theater. It's not theater, man.
Right. It's not about theater. It's actually about a religion.
Exactly.
This is. I mean, Cuomo's like exactly inverted wrong. Right.
Yeah.
It's like no, but you're the religious one.
Right.
There's a religion here, and it's about authority and submission. It's not about science and freedom. It's not about taking responsibility. It's we are the high priests.
Yeah.
And we will tell you when to wear masks and where not to wear masks, and you must obey.
And we've seen the fruit of 40 years, 80 years of our public school education system. Yep. Look what they just did. Mm-hmm. They just got all of America to wear a mask, regardless of what the science said.
For a flu.
The CDC just convinced everybody. Didn't convince everybody. Just told everybody what to do, and everyone's like, "Okay." Yeah. Well, that's because we've been listening to government for 18 years through high school.
And all of the studies on masking said they didn't work.
From the CDC's website.
And America just laid down and crawled.
It's because we've been listening and being educated by the government for 18 years of your life and 40, 80 years of generations.
First, I want to say there's a place you need to go to if you are still unsure about masks and you think that they work, and because the CDC would never tell you something wrong. You need to go to themodelhealthshow.com /mask facts and look at, first they got an hour-long doc. They do a really great job on this documentary.
And all the studies.
And they are not partial on this. They're being as even as they can, but they have all the studies on the site too, all the randomized controlled tests that were done. So the studies, people point to studies that are not actually randomized controlled tests. You want a randomized controlled test study because that's the highest form of science that they actually go through. It's not coughing inside of a mask and then looking at a petri dish and say, oh, look, it worked. No, it's real world testing. Right. That's why you want a randomized controlled test. Right. So that's the first thing. The other thing, so go there. themodelhealthshow.com /mask facts. That's where you want to go. All the science is there.
But 62% of people say that masking makes them feel better.
That's the new science. Yeah. That's right. But the other thing is that, so when the CDC came out and decided to tell everybody that vaccinated people didn't have to wear a mask, all of a sudden, you watched Costco, Walmart, even our own stores here in Moscow, our own city council removed the mask mandate. Everybody started removing their mask mandates.
Everybody bowed down when the music played.
Exactly. And there's something else too. Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, she's asking for clarification on the issue.
From the CDC.
Because she's like, hold on, wait. Even Rachel Maddow. People who don't wear a mask, how do I know that they're vaccinated? So I can't tell the difference between a vaccinated person and an unvaccinated person. So we need the CDC to be clear. So they're running their own little campaign in Chicago where they're going to have events and sporting events that only people who have been vaccinated are allowed to get in.
And how are they going to know if they're
vaccinated? That's the question. How do you think that they're going to know?
Honor system.
That's the... You know what?
No.
That was actually what was asked in the MSNBC report. It was like, are we going to work an honor system? And there was like, no. No, we're not. We're going to check. So they're going to actually break HIPAA to figure out if you're vaccinated
or not.
What's HIPAA? HIPAA is for all kinds of different things, but basically
it's a medical act.
It's a medical act that allows you to be able to have control over your medical information and the privacy of your medical information and know who's using it and for what, and to say no and to change it.
And anybody that asks you about your medical condition or history or anything,
you don't have to lawfully
tell them.
Yes, that's right.
But I think the way that they're going to spin it is the same way they spent the whole shutdowns, which is just an emergency. And you can go in here and infect and kill all kinds of people. So we need to know what your status is because you're a threat. So the emergency order is going to supersede HIPAA. The thing that's bothering me, though, is not that they're doing those things. It's not that the masks are coming off. The thing that bothers me is that Christians and a lot of people are wusan, which are going, this is over.
Oh, it's not over.
Oh, this is over. We can, and I'm watching.
Finally, it's been a year.
Yeah. I think even our own city council was like, maybe now we can restore peace and peace can come back together and relationships can be restored because of the whole mask. And I'm thinking to myself, this is not a time to woo-saw. This is a time to write down names. Moments. The Fauci.
And remember, and don't forget.
We've got an election coming up here locally. You probably have elections coming up locally. Did they vote for the emergency order? And every one of them needs to be asked, did you vote for it? Why did you vote for it? And would you vote for it again? And if it's yes, then I'm not voting for you. You can't have my vote. I don't care if there's an R next to your name. Right? If you bowed down to this God, then we're not going to support you.
You need to think about, did your sheriff protect you? Did your city council put you under duress? Did they force the police to do something that the police shouldn't have been doing?
Did they say that your business was non-essential? Did they say that worshiping God was non-essential? Then you can't vote for them unless they come clean and they say I
were wrong
and I was wrong and I will never do that again to you. Then you can't vote for them. Tell them they can't get voted.
They want us to have short memories. I've even already heard them say, "Let's not drudge up the past." I've heard them already starting repeat. Guys, we're moving on to a new place now.
But this goes back to Christians are frequently bad about pursuit.
Yeah, we are.
We push back frequently when it's in our face, and then once it's out of our faces, we say, We do?
Wusa.
We woosah.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that now.
Yeah, woosah.
Woosah.
I like that.
Do you think I can use that in a sermon? Is that okay if I say woosah? You think they know what I mean?
Sure. Figure out what it means in the Greek, though.
But-
Whatever you think, Pastor.
Remember the prophet who comes to the king and says, "Strike the earth with the arrows."
Yep.
And he only struck it what?
3 times.
3 times. He says, "Why did you stop striking it after 3 times?" That means you're going to win a little bit of a battle, but in the end, the enemy's going to come back and they're going to get you. You're going to get rid of the demon, but then the demon's going to bring back 7 of his friends. You didn't actually clean house. Strike it 5 times, 6 times until it's destroyed. Remember Israel?
You hear that, SBC?
Israel going into the promised land, right? Don't stop fighting until you cleared the land. What do? They fight a bunch, they win a bunch of battles, and they're like, that's all right. They're up in the hill country.
Yeah,
they're hard.
that's right.
They got iron chariots. We don't want to fight them. And what happens? Then those things become a snare to them in the long term. Are you thinking about your kids right now and your grandkids right now? What kind of church are you going to hand them?
Yeah.
What kind of business are you going to hand them? What kind of city are you going to hand them? What kind of nation are you going to hand them?
Right.
As the rules are coming down, don't think woosah.
That's right.
Don't think,
the break.
It's all over now. No, think now it's time to make sure that none of these tyrants ever get reelected. Now it's time to make sure we have new laws written in place that will protect us from this kind of tyranny in the future.
That's right.
Here's the time to make sure that my church is ready to make sure that, if they ever bring this mask mandate back, if you struggled through it, don't stop now.
Right.
Work on it now. Saying if this comes back in a year, if we have wave 4 or 7 or new COVID 50, are you ready for your church to say, we saw this play before. We're not going to do this again.
Lori Lightfoot said, and the reason I want to piggyback on that and say this, Lori Lightfoot said, because the fight's not over. It's not over. It's
not over at all.
Phase 2.
Right.
Doug said this before. We're in a 10-year phase. This is, we think, about a 10-year window.
Sure.
Lori Lightfoot said that most of the people who have the vaccine, this is the mayor in Chicago.
Right.
And so the people who want the vaccine, they already got it. Everybody's got it. But the people who don't want the vaccine, those are the people who we need to get. Those are people who we need to get after. So, and guys, it's not about a vaccine. It wasn't about the mask.
No.
It's something bigger than that. It's about your ability to control what God has given you authority over.
That's right.
The governments are overlapping too far.
If your family decides you want to do the vaccine, God bless you. Do what you want to do. That's
right.
under your jurisdiction.
Right.
I've got questions, and I'm sort of a skeptic on it, but nevertheless, you are free to do that. That's your jurisdiction.
That's right.
Health and welfare is the jurisdiction of the family.
That's right.
That's right.
Not the government, and not the church.
Right.
Okay?
That's right. Thank you.
And the church has got responsibility over worship. Government and family, sorry, you can give us some input, but we have the keys of the kingdom.
That's right.
We are obedient to God, and we are leading worship the way God told us to do, and that's not your jurisdiction. And the state has a limited jurisdiction to punish evildoers. That's their job, nothing else.
That's
And
right.
I just want to, I praise God for guys like Pastor Tim.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Those are the kind of
Yes.
pastors that I
Say
trust.
that.
Right.
They got my
Say
back.
that.
Right.
I remember, I'll never forget when I was arrested last year and you were right there rebuking the officers as they're putting me in the cop car.
Yep.
Yep.
I was like, I was like, that's my pastor.
Yep.
Right.
And he's got my back.
Yep.
And he's not going to leave me stranded out here.
Right.
And all these parishioners are being left stranded right now
Right.
from all these churches.
Freedom is not doing whatever you want.
Yeah. That's right.
Freedom is living under the lordship of Christ
Come on,
in
man. You better
every
preach
area.
that.
Okay? It's
Yep.
not lawlessness. It's not
Right.
anarchy.
Right.
But it's saying God has established these governments in society. This is what sets men and women free.
And apply that same principle. Pastor Stevens is taking a bullet for his church.
Yeah.
He
He is standing up for freedom in Canada by saying this jurisdiction belongs to Jesus Christ.
That's right.
It does not belong to the Canadian government. It does not belong to the RCMP. It doesn't belong
That's
to
right.
the health department.
It is its own government.
It is its
Jesus.
own government directly established by Jesus Christ.
And so you as a father, you take that same principle and apply it to you and you taking a bullet for your family.
Yeah, you are responsible for the health and welfare and education of your family. That's not the government's job. It's not the church's job. It's no one else's job but yours.
And when your kids see you stand up like that,
Right.
they see protection.
Yeah.
They see comfort.
Stability.
They see stability. They see a father who loves them.
And when there's that kind of stability and love under the lordship of Christ, that is real freedom.
That's
Amen.
right.
Because
Amen.
you know where
That's right, Toby.
You know where it's firm, and now you can build.
Yep.
Now you can live.
Yep.
Now you can laugh.
That
now
stuff,
you can dance.
that's the post-millennial stuff we're talking about. That stuff bleeds all the way out
right.
into the other governments, right? From that position right
That's
there.
right.
Phase 2 is them trying to figure out, how do we get you vaccinated?
Yeah.
You know what they don't want. I know you're playing the music.
No, go ahead.
But what they want is they have been killing our babies.
Yep.
They've been feeding us porn. Okay, Pastor Wilson loves to say, what don't they want you to do?
Yep.
Go do it.
They don't want you to get married.
That's right.
They don't want you to have kids, and they sure don't want you to baptize them.
Come on now.
So you know what you need to do.
If you're single, get married. And if you're married, have kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until Sunday with Pastor Wilson, we're going to talk about weed. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politics.
This is going to be the Ganja Show with Pastor Doug?
Yeah, Sunday.
The Ganja Show.
The shake.